Students United for Palestinian Equal Rights.
Yeah!
If you are down with Palestine liberation and against Israeli occupation and apartheid, that racist Zionist regime, you need to join Super and get on board. Last night, we had the first of a strong reading of the divestment proposal to get PSU to divest its holdings from 4 companies that are complicit in the occupation of Palestinian people and their land, and also complicit in places all around the world oppressing indigenous people everywhere. And I want to talk to you specifically about G4S. Who's heard of G4S? Oh, good. Listen up. This is going to get really good because somebody just mentioned that G4S is training police officers in this racist town, and I'm explaining to you why you should care about that. So, G4S works directly with the Portland Police Bureau, who works directly with our on-campus security here at PSU. This is taken directly from G4S's local website. G4S Portland is your local, single-source provider to meet all your security requirements. It gets better. G4S Portland has proven that it has the ability to handle both the routine and the extraordinary requirements for performance excellence. Who thinks that's some racist bullshit? So, this is where it's going to get really interesting. G4S represents the growing insistence on what is called security under the neoliberal state. The ideologies of security represented by G4S bolster not only the privatization of security, but the privatization of imprisonment, the privatization of warfare, privatization of healthcare, and what you should care about most, the privatization of Portland State University. Got that? Yeah! And this is where it gets even more interesting. G4S is the 3rd largest private corporation in the world. And the worst of all, G4S, and this is on its website, is the #1 private employer on the whole continent of Africa. Come on, y'all. You gotta get behind divesting from G4S. That's a problem. Here's another quote directly from the G4S website. G4S says that in more ways than you might realize. That's right, listen up. You walked out, so you're down with us apparently. In more ways, G4S says on their website, in more ways than you might realize, G4S is securing your world. Boom! And I say, in more ways that you might realize, G4S has insinuated itself into our lives under the guise of security and the security state. From the ways that Palestinians experience political incarceration and torture to racist technologies of separation and apartheid. From the wall in Israel to prison-like schools and the wall along the U.S.-Mexico border, which is Turtle Island, all of it. In the U.S., schools, particularly in poor communities of color, are so thoroughly entangled in the prison-industrial complex that sometimes we have a hard time distinguishing between schools and jails. That's fine. All right. Can you all hear me now? Okay. So, and as a matter of fact, a recent trend has been to arm teachers at schools if they can't afford G4S technologies. Arming teachers, that's some BS. Particularly by school districts who are poor already and have to segregate their students based upon their income inequality. So, when one looks at the major clients of G4S security, that includes banks. You can walk down to B of A and see a G4S security officer standing right outside. That includes governments, corporations, and all their ilk. It becomes evident that when G4S says it's securing your world, as the company's slogan goes, it's referring to a world of exploitation, repression, occupation, and racism. Do we stand for that or do we stand against it?
Against it!
In the U.S., there are some 2.5 million people in our country's jails and prisons and military prisons and jails in Indian country and immigrant detention centers. On any given day, that is to say, there are
are 2.5 million people approximately. That doesn't count all the people that move through the system and all the different ways that the security apparatus works. And majority of these people are people of color. The fastest growing sector consists of women of color. Many prisoners